Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/surviving infidelity, where OP caught his wife's affair with a gym chad. Let's begin. Am I the asshole for refusing to help my sister out when I'm the only person in our family she lives close to and she has children? Posted by Reddit user Competitive Bench.
I have not spoken to my sister in 10 years after she had an affair with my ex. I was with my ex from the age of 15 until we were 20. My sister was 19 at the time and the affair had been ongoing. Most likely they started the affair not that long after my sister turned 18. My ex was the same age as me. My ex proposed to me while we were together. My sister was helping with that and encouraging me to marry him before he proposed. This was so he would be around and they could keep sleeping together. We got engaged and a few months later, my sister told me I couldn't marry him because she was pregnant with his child. She tried to salvage a relationship with me and asked me to understand and not be mad at her. I told her she was disgusting and I would never forgive her. I also told our parents what she had done. I saw my sister once after her first child was born, a year or so after I had learned about the affair. She told me she missed me and she wanted her daughter to know her aunt. She tried her best to get me to at least agree to a relationship with her daughter, but I told her it was not possible and I was still not going to forgive her, and I told her not to talk to me again. My parents and extended family also stopped talking to her when she started dating him for real, and they only resumed contact after they broke up. They then supported her because of the kids. My parents couldn't bring themselves to turn their backs on their grandkids or to sever the relationship forever. I was fine with it because I do understand, but her having kids was not an incentive for me to repair things. I'm now happily married and a mom myself. A few weeks ago, my parents called and told me that my sister has been living 20 minutes from me for the last 2 years. They know I don't want to talk about her, so until this point they had not. She moved out of state for a job and then she lost the job, and her landlord had told her she needed to be out in 60 days because he was repurposing the house. Without her original job and with no support network here, she had turned to them. She didn't want to pull her kids away from the place they were used to now, and so my parents decided I should be the one to help. They told me if I could help her by putting her in touch with people for a job and maybe another rental, it would be so amazing. They wanted me to step in before the 60 days was up. I refused to help and told them I will never do a single thing for her again. They pleaded with me to reconsider and told me to think of the kids. They asked me if I really hated my sister that much, and I said yes. I told her it would be bad enough to be the affair partner, but to encourage me to get engaged and help him plan it while they were cheating behind my back was such a low thing to do. I said the fact she stayed long enough to have another child with him also showed how little she really cared about me. They told me to be a better person than this. Am I the asshole?
No, you are absolutely not the asshole here, OP. Your parents are fine to resume their relationship with their daughter separate from you, but they are completely out of line in demanding that you do anything and then try to shame and guilt trip you when you don't comply. It's honestly quite disgusting. They're the ones that need to be better people. No contact means no contact. It doesn't mean no contact until they need to use you and your resources. The person most obligated to help the children is their piece of shit father. And the only people obligated to help your sister, if there are even any, are your parents, not you. And now for today's second story. I told my wayward wife that I'm divorcing her. Posted by Reddit user Price Kangaroo.
Hello everyone, today was my D-Day and I'm feeling lousy, but not entirely surprised about what happened. I've read enough on Reddit to know our story isn't super unique. It feels like my wife has fallen out of love with me and had a physical affair with someone. One time, one partner, it was a superficial hookup, not an actual relationship. I am unsure how to proceed, though at the moment I am heavily leaning toward divorce, but my wife is remorseful and wants to reconcile. I acknowledge feelings are still raw, so this may change, but my hope is that some of you can offer some advice for my situation. I don't know what to do. The longer story is that a year ago she had an emotional affair with another person, and after a few excruciating weeks of never-ending, exhausting conflict, we agreed on reconciliation.
By the end of this, you are going to be crying like a little bitch.
The things I set forth for me to feel secure with her after the emotional affair included her opening up her socials, her quitting the gym at which the emotional affair occurred, and her being transparent with where she is and who she is with. She agreed with reluctance, and this helped a lot. She did all of these things, but she never seemed motivated to work on herself, to address the underlying issues, and to me she always seemed only half remorseful for what she did. For example, in couples therapy she would get defensive each time, clam up, and not really focus on making our relationship better. Felt like we didn't make much progress after a few months. She always resented me for controlling her by asking her to be transparent after the emotional affair, that she felt like she was in a cage. She would gaslight me and make me think that I was being unreasonable for wanting safety, not trusting her after that trust was broken, and her never making it safe for me to express my feelings about our relationship. She would make me out to be this paranoid husband who harasses her about everything she does. Not true. Fast forward 10 months, things improved a lot, but the same patterns still continue with our fights. She clams up immediately 3 sentences into a difficult conversation and would simply say that she wants to separate without further engagement. I naively felt like we were both happier and rebuilding trust over the past few months. But after a session with our couples therapist that didn't go well 2 weeks ago, today I learned she had a physical affair with someone last weekend. Based on her description, it was only a single time and with one person. Her affair partner was not married, presumably no kids, and she told me relatively quickly after it happened. To me, her body language and the phrases she used suggested she was truthful that this was the first and only time. She does admit there is something missing in our relationship, and I agree. She said she doesn't know why she did it, but maybe a part of it was curiosity. I am her only sexual partner, whereas I had a few before we dated. She was attracted to this person and they talked at the gym, but not on the phone, and it just happened. Today she says she doesn't trust herself at the gym. She has these feelings for other men and she doesn't know why. She hates herself for what has happened, and felt so horrible she wanted to jump in front of a bus. I didn't think she meant it. She's not actively suicidal. She is proposing to start seeing a therapist and working on herself. However, the way I see it is that she's unhappy with me. She implied she doesn't love me the same anymore, and she has already had an entire year to work on herself. I don't want to be with her anymore. She says she wants to reconcile, but based on what I am seeing, I think our chances of success are very low. I can't imagine a future in which I can trust her, and the future that I can imagine is one in which I don't think I want to live in. I can see myself always being bitter and resentful towards her and always worrying about her cheating on me again, even though I know we could to a large extent rekindle our love and our trust. I am fearful that I will cave and agree to working on reconciliation due to fear of being alone, or fear of the financial consequences of divorce. The tough part is that I think we'd both agree that we've had a wonderful 10+ year relationship up until a year ago. Things get complex because we have 2 kids and we own 3 houses together. I told her if we do divorce, I would want for us to split our assets 50-50, and I would be fine if we work with the same lawyer with this in mind. My idea. Is this a bad idea? Without emotions getting in the way, it seems like it would be straightforward to do this. I suppose if that changes during this process, we could both spend the extra money to get our own lawyers. We make about the same amount of money, but I have $100,000 more in my retirement accounts than she does because I've worked a few years longer. I also would really like to stay in the home in which we live and have her move to one of our 2 rental homes. She seems agreeable to this. How would you proceed if you were in my shoes? This is all so confusing and terrifying. And now, for OP's update. I told my wayward wife that I am divorcing her last night, and it feels both liberating and terrifying. See previous post. What an exhausting 10 days it's been, but I realized and truly believe my marriage is not salvageable. After studying up on serial cheaters, it has become super validating knowing that I wasn't crazy. Even throughout the conversations from yesterday, it was clear as day that the emotions she was showing were all about her. Here's a relevant quote: "Cheaters often display emotion when their affairs are discovered, but if you pay attention, it's usually sympathy for themselves, not for the pain they inflicted on you." Spot on. Never once has she acknowledged the pain that she has caused me. I can't describe my feelings right now. Lots of relief, anxiety, sadness, but I'm also so proud of myself that had the courage to stand up for myself and walk away. After recognizing the patterns of a cheater, the gaslighting, the twisted reality that they make you believe in, the complete lack of remorse, I can't believe I put up with this for so long. In fact, our codependent dynamic is one such that I have always been the one propping her up, making her feel good about herself, upholding the perfect life that she likes to show the world on social media. Funny thing is, one of the biggest concerns she had was whether I had told our friends, another hallmark of a disordered cheater. Her whole world is collapsing and she is worried about that. She had every opportunity during the last 10 days and all of last year, since her first affair a year ago, to say the right things to convince me she was capable of giving this thing a shot, but she didn't. Today, she says she is waiting until she sees her therapist before deciding what to do. That was enough for me. Though I was holding on to a long-shot chance that we may be capable of reconciliation. This sounds crazy as I write it. I guess you can't see it as clearly when you're in the thick of it. I see now that the things I was always hoping for will just never happen. I've been a chump. It also happened to be our kiddo's birthday this weekend and her family was over while this drama was unfolding. I thought this was going to be super awkward, and it was. However, as it turns out, her family members were really great about not getting super involved or taking sides, and some even validated my experience, and implied that they wouldn't blame me if I left her. So I am, and I did. She is a puddle of self-pity right now and I weirdly feel really bad for her. She keeps on wanting to talk and I can feel my sympathy for her rising, and it scares me.
Wow, like a bitch.
And that's what Frieza said.
I really worry she is going to say all the right things that a person in my shoes so desperately wants to hear. How do you manage this? Any other points for this next phase of the journey? Thank you all for your support. The pain is intense today, but it's hitting in a different way and I don't know how to manage it. Edit. Removing some information for privacy concerns. I think she may be able to find or recognize my Reddit account, so I probably won't post any further updates. Really appreciate the perspectives.
OP, I cannot stress enough enough. Learn the Grey Rock method. Recognize that she has been pulling the sheet over your head since the very beginning, and you stupidly fell for it the first time. Don't be a fool again. Close your heart to it and realize that this is her last resort. She doesn't want to lose the security that your relationship offers. She doesn't care about what she makes you feel. Only the money and security that you can provide. Hopefully you will change your mind and give us the final update in a few weeks, maybe even a few months. Regardless, I'll be looking out for it. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.